Welcome to Forging Freedom Into the Fire, the podcast where men sharpen themselves and build brotherhood. I'm your host, Zach Monroe, and every week we dig into real stories, gritty adventures, and the mindset it takes to live free and lead strong. So pull up a chair by the fire and let's dive in. Welcome back to another episode of Into the Fire podcast. I'm your host, Zach Monroe, and today I'm joined with a new friend, Cory Williams. Cory, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Excited.
so Cory caught my interest through social media. I noticed he was doing some really great work as a videographer, but he also is a very active runner, and I know you've competed in different Ironman. Is it marathons or triathlons?
Half Ironman triathlon. Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
Yep.
And of course, you're a father.
Yes.
You've got two kids.
Yep, two kids.
Yep. And you're from the North Country.
Yep. I'm originally from Ogdensburg. Lived there my whole life. Moved to Canton for school and met my wife, and I've been there now for probably 12 years. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I guess one of the things I really kind of want to get into first was your Ironman experience. How the hell did you get into that?
Yeah. So as you said, I'm a videographer, and through my production company, I had a job where I followed a team of doctors that were raising money for cancer research, and they were competing in the Ironman in Lake Placid. And as I was filming that, I was like, this is something very special that I feel like I need to get involved in. It was just before the pandemic. So, I went all in. I got a bike. I'd never really ridden a bike on the road before. I never swam before. I had always ran. I did track in high school, but never as like an adult, I guess. So I just kind of started. And as I got into it, I was like, I feel really good. I noticed that kind of some of my anxiety was kind of going away, and my OCD tendencies, it was really helping me, get through some of that stuff, especially with COVID happening. It was a nice outlet to have. You go on a 2-hour bike ride when you can't really do anything else was really great. So, it was really something I got passionate about, and I just dove right in and signed up for my first Ironman in New Hampshire, and competed, and I was hooked. So.
How was that first experience?
It was grueling. It was great. There's so many factors that go into it. You swim for a half Ironman. You swim 1.2 miles. You bike 56 miles, and then you run a half marathon, all in order. So it was not the best conditions. It was really cold and raining out. New Hampshire is very hilly, obviously. So the bike was just an absolute. People were getting off the bike and walking because it was easier to get up some of those hills. Just crazy. Yeah. But I finished. I walked a majority of the half marathon, but I did it, and I felt like a real sense of accomplishment. But I knew that I could just keep going and be better, and I set some goals for myself, and I was able to just keep going. So I've done about 7 now.
Done 7. Yeah. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Maybe one day. What did the training routine before your first one look like? And has it changed?
It's definitely changed. Yeah. So when I first started, I was big into Peloton. So, I was just on the indoor cycling, that kind of thing. And as I got out, my routine switched. So I basically do everything outside now. But it was one discipline a day, basically. I'd alternate between biking or running, and I'd maybe swim once a week, twice a week, and maybe as you get closer to the race, you do what's called the brick day. So you combine 2 disciplines in one so that you can get simulation of the real race. So, you bike, and then you'd run right off the bike to do like a combination. So and now I've geared more towards running, having kids. Yeah. It's a little harder to leave the house for 2 hours when you got little kids. I still do it here and there. My wife is very supportive. She's really the driving force between letting me get into all of that. And, but my daughter loves to run in the stroller. So I just do running now. I do half marathons a lot. I try to do at least one a year.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, you said something important there that we often talk about on the podcast. Yeah. So you've been able to kind of find this holistic healing to anxiety and OCD and stress through really kind of pushing yourself, right? Finding the grit and doing Ironman and doing different events and training and everything.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's so important because
Yeah.
I think we talk about that so much. And, I think there's a lot of men who are kind of experiencing those same feelings and emotions.
Yeah.
And I think as men, we sometimes have trouble finding outlets to really cure that.
Yeah.
Right. And so I started this Forge and Freedom. I started this podcast really with those same reasons. For me, it was hiking. And I got to say, it's been incredible spending all that time up in Lake Placid and in the Adirondacks getting fresh air.
Yeah.
But I always, coming back from maybe a sunrise hike or something, I see the Ironman athletes and the triathletes and the Olympians up there on those hills biking. And I always think to myself, I'm like, that's unreal. That's a next level of
It's
grip.
next level, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in Lake Placid. It's crazy.
Yeah. And you've done an Ironman up there too.
I have not done one in Lake Placid.
Oh, okay.
I did sign up for one. It was I was making that first step towards a full Ironman, which is a lot longer, but I guess I knew when to bow out, I guess. So I did defer that race, but I stick to the halves. So yeah, that's a much higher training load. It's a higher dedication, and yeah.
What do you think if somebody, if someone asked you and said, "Hey, I'm thinking about getting into an Ironman"?
Yeah.
What type of advice would you give them? Like where to start?
Yeah. I think for me personally, when I was starting out, there's a lot of information of, you really need to, have it down before you sign up. You need to be good at everything. I found that to maybe not be true, and that was just my experience. I'm one of those guys that I'll just dive right in. I started here and there. I think I'd only swam once before my first race. Wow. So don't be afraid to just kind of try it out, and it's not it'll be what it's going to be, and you can see if you're going to really enjoy it. For me personally, I also find that having something like that on the horizon, I found out, like having a race signed up for, having a goal in mind, that really helps me push as well. Yeah. So helps me kind of stay focused, eye on the prize kind of thing. Yeah.
Maybe going into it with the right mentality, like you're probably not gonna place. Right. You're 10, not, but it's about personal.
It's about personal. Yeah. I think even my first goal for my first race was to finish. It was just like just finish, no matter the time, and I did that, and I was happy. So that I didn't walk away disappointed. I did what I set out to do. Now each race, I set a little bit more of a goal for myself, push a little harder, see how that pans out. So yeah.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
So you got into Ironman through your company, Railroad Productions.
Yes.
So you had started filming and putting together some cinematic clips for the doctors, right?
Yeah.
And so talk to me a little bit about Railroad Productions. How long has that been happening?
Yeah. So my wife originally started the company, I want to say maybe 2012-ish, maybe around there. Primarily weddings. She was doing it by herself, just friends, here and there. Mm-hmm. And then I kind of came in to help as like a second shooter assistant. Took on more and more weddings. In our peak, we were doing about 25 weddings a year, all throughout New York, I would say, even Massachusetts. And it slowly developed into doing more commercial work. So it split 50-50. And when the pandemic happened, we had some challenges with weddings, as everybody did. We had to cancel a lot of events, and we just kind of took a look at our same thing, like on a stress level. We were working every weekend of our lives for the whole summer. And we just said, maybe it's time to bow out before we get too burnt out, I guess. So I decided to take on the business myself full time, and I completely transitioned to commercial work. So I do still take on the occasional wedding, but I'd say 90% of my work is advertising, commercial, small business, that kind of thing. So
yeah, and I feel like that probably came. So if it was around 2012. I feel like the traditional weddings moved from the traditional photography to videography, and still today, I'm sure there's a lot of both. I got married in 2015, and it was a little bit different. I noticed a lot of weddings. It's like everyone's pairing the photography and the videography together. Yeah, and I love that because for people, especially if you're getting married, you know, that's one of the highlights of your life, right? And to be able to capture that in essence on video and have that forever to watch back on and share it with your kids, I think that is so great. And I think it's, you know, an asset to families and for future generations. So, you know, do you ever look at your work and think, you know, there's even if you're not in that capacity of filming anymore, think back of the impact you've had on all those people?
Oh, absolutely. You know, we made a lot of friends doing it, you know, like our actual clients, you'd say, you know, the couples, and we still maintain contact with a lot of them. And it's so crazy to see, you know, they have 2-3 kids now, and they'll send us pictures watching their wedding film that we did, you know, 8 years ago or whatever. And it's just crazy to think, like, it's the kids get to see it, they get to relive the day, and it's cool to see the lasting impact it has. Yeah, it's really cool.
Did you get anybody to film your wedding?
We did, yeah,
Good.
we did, and you know, we watch ours every year. It's crazy, yeah. It's a great thing to have. So yeah.
I try not to live with regrets this day and age, but that is one thing I feel like I wish I had captured from that day. But it's still one of the best days of my life.
Absolutely,
anyway, with my wife. So so now you moved into commercial work. Actually, I saw your commercial with Alcoa.
Oh yeah,
that
great.
was one of your clients, right?
Yep, that was awesome.
So that was an incredible show.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. Yeah, it was a great thing to see. You know, not everybody gets to go there. It's kind of one of those top secret-ish places that no one really knows what's going on. So it was great to be involved with and make that for those guys. It was really cool.
Yeah. Was it what you expected? I've been in there a few times.
I had no idea what to expect. My main job that I did produce was it was more of like a how it's made type video. So I got to actually go in through every step of the process, from the raw material delivery to the smelting to the aluminum bricks coming out on a truck, you know, and kind of film the whole process. So it was a crazy experience for me to see. I love that kind of storytelling, you know, just stuff that people don't really get to see on a day-to-day. It was really cool.
And then you did another one I saw with the Clarkson men's hockey team.
Yeah.
So I'm passionate about that's one of my longtime hobbies is hockey.
Yeah.
And so I saw you got the chance to kind of follow them around and shoot for them. Kind of a hype video, right?
Yeah, hype video, and that's one of the best parts of my job that I really like is you never know what you're going to get. You know, it's there's something different. There's a new thing you get to see and experience, and there's never really the same thing twice. So it's awesome. Yeah.
Gives you an opportunity to travel the country.
Travel, and
Although we had just had a conversation before we started recording this podcast that travel right now is a little bit of a nightmare.
Travel is a little bit of a nightmare. The shutdown and the flights, and I have a corporate job. I'm fortunate enough to be able to travel to a few different states, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get there next week. So
I think a lot of us are worried. Have a little bit of that worry with the 10%.
Yeah.
Hopefully that all changed.
Yeah.
So something else I learned new that was interesting. So you actually go away for the winter.
Yeah.
And you are not. You're probably a younger generation snowbird than most, huh?
Yeah. It's a lot, but same thing. I feel like there's this common theme of doing what's best for our mental health. And I'd say 2 years ago, we just stayed 2 weeks. It wasn't anything crazy. And we just noticed such a change in ourselves. And even our daughter at the time, she was very young, but still you noticed she was able to not be inside just sitting around all day. So last year we were able to go for a full 6 weeks. So that was a little bit longer. And same thing, just she was older. She could swim and play. And so it's just one of those things that we feel like we need to prioritize. And our jobs were, again, blessed to be able to work wherever. I can kind of edit wherever I am. So I tend to switch my workload to more of like using existing footage to repurpose, like for social and things at that time. We just try and really prioritize that. Winters can be long here. It's a beautiful place to live though. This, like you were saying, hiking in the winter is great to an extent, but when it's that -20 and you can't leave the house, it's a struggle.
It's a struggle. When I first got into winter hiking, you learn so much about layering, and you learn about, proper traction and everything, right? And we had attempted, it was like 10 below, and we were like, okay, we're not going to do a high peak, obviously. It is way too cold to do that. But we're like, we'll do a smaller mountain. I think maybe Rooster Combe in Keene Valley. And we made it about a half mile in. And I looked at my wife, and my sister-in-law came with me, and we were just frozen. We're like, oh, there's no doing this. Oof. So like we've definitely tried to grit it out before, but like, you know, I'm not going to sacrifice safety over, you know, the mountains aren't going anywhere, basically. Yeah. So I've tried it. Word of advice, just check the weather forecast and don't be afraid to turn around if you're not feeling it. You know, there's been many times I've had to do that. Yeah. I've been working towards completing my 46 peaks, and you know, we started actually pre-COVID, and then COVID we got a chance to really ramp it up because we had that extra time. But it's been a really slow pace, right? And I'm just taking it all in and being grateful that, you know, that opportunity, you know, is being given to me to be able to live to a place so beautiful and close. Exactly. And like I said, the mountains aren't going anywhere, so I'm not rushing to bag peaks and do things. I just, you know, I take it when I can and enjoy it. Yeah. And, you know, it's been fun, and, you know, I've been able to share with my kids. Yeah. And teach them. And of course we camp a lot too. What's something that you think as a father that you feel most like proud of or grateful for being able to share with your kids?
Yeah. What's something?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just like that living life, you know, making the time to be outdoors. You know, we spend a lot of time outdoors, even if it's just at our own house. You know, we have chickens, we have a garden and all that stuff. We just make sure to encourage that, like, you know, embrace, you know, just go to, and same thing with like the exercising, you know, seeing my daughter get excited about, you know, going on a run. It's nice to see that, you know, she can see that that's something we can do together. We have where it's just us time, even though we're not really, you know, talking or things like that. So just that kind of stuff, just sharing the moments and sharing that, like you slow down, you know, it doesn't have to be this grind culture, kind of like, you know, like you were just talking about that this week. So, you know, you can just enjoy and be in the moment. It's nice. So.
Yeah. And I think that's one of the, I guess in reverse, getting that back as fathers, it's like kids can also kind of teach you to appreciate and slow down a little bit in the moment if you structure it the right way. Right, because my kids are a little bit older. They're 8 and 10. I've talked about it a lot. You know, I got one in competitive dance, one in hockey. So it's a lot of chaos, but you try to control that chaos. Yeah. And it's like in those pockets, being able to find, you know, room for yourself, or allowing your wife to find room for herself and space to just kind of, you know, it brings that family dynamic back together. So important, right? And so a lot of Forging Freedom was based on those principles of being able to say, you know, let's grab some men and send an invite and say, okay, let's go out and do something for a couple hours. Yeah. And occasionally maybe let's go for a weekend. You know, and do a reset. And you know, as men, I don't know how old you are, but it's like sometimes it gets tougher as you get a little bit older to make friends sometimes.
Yeah, I actually think we're the same age. You say you're 35?
Yeah, 35,
yeah. Same age.
Same age, okay.
So,
yeah.
I might not look like it with all my gray hair, but, you know.
Mine's there. It's just hidden underneath my hat, so don't worry. My kids pick on me about it all the time. And actually, I shaved my beard for Halloween. We did, my wife and I did Bob's Burgers.
Oh, great. That's great.
Linda and Bob.
Yeah, right? Linda and Bob.
So I had to get the mustache to come through pretty clean, so I had to shave my beard for the first time, and like, I don't know, before my kids were born probably, and they both looked at me like they didn't know who I was. They're like, who's this stranger in my house?
That's great.
My daughter's petrified. It was funny. But yeah, no, that's one of those things definitely as fathers. It's like kids can definitely teach you to want to live in the moment and appreciate and be present, and you know, as long as you're able to really understand that and find it. So, you know, I can say I've, as my kids have gotten older, there's been pockets of time with a busy career where it's been difficult for me to actually practice what I'm preaching. Yeah. But I've spent the last year, probably 2 years, kind of working on improving that. And so, you know, I just something in conversations with you off camera and, you know, other guys in the community, it's like we tend to have those same experiences, but when do you find time to really talk about it
or have a community that all the like-minded, you know? It's nice.
Yeah, it's been really neat. So of course an algorithm will throw, you know, what you're interested in likes, but ever since I started this, I realized like this is sort of a movement.
Yeah.
It's a quiet movement, but there's there's people all across there's guys all across the country that are really doing this.
Yeah.
And it all looks different in different formats. Some are just full blown traditional men's retreats where it's like, you know, guys will go out and, you know, they'll do workshops and they'll work with social workers and then like do some grit and then come back, you know, and start really opening up. And I've had some conversations with people. It's like really powerful.
Yeah.
You know, like guys will just break down, maybe cry for the first time in a long time, maybe.
Yeah.
And so there's some traditional men's retreats, and then there's some on kind of the balance, a combination of both.
Yeah.
And then there's some that are adventure based, right? So in this, it's like, you know, I've had a lot of, you know, similar emotional struggles, right, with anxiety and bouts of depression and some other things. And so like that mental health capacity, it's like I tried different things. I tried traditional therapy, and it worked in some facets, but it's like I always, for some reason in the back of my head, it always came back to a fire. Right. And some of the best conversations I've had in my life are around a campfire or outside camping with my buddies or in the mountains solo.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so there is really a niche.
Absolutely.
Or a need for these sort of holistic or alternative therapies.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against traditional therapy. Like,
no, I mean,
people should do that.
Yeah.
And they should absolutely take advantage.
And I think that's something cool that, like, you know, there's different levels to everything. And I think it's really great to offer that as, like, you're saying, like, maybe to couple with it, you know, you can have like your more traditional sense, and then you can have this as like more of a maintenance kind of, you know, just take care of yourself. And, you know, because a lot of heavy can be hard too, you know, so it's really nice to have like a pairing of the two different extremes, I guess.
Extremes, yeah. Whatever works for you.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
What works for me might not work for
you.
Yeah. You know, it might not work for the next man. So it's like just being able to find something that really works, or you combine a little bit of everything and experience it. But and it's really neat too, because we're also having a conversation. So your wife had started after she handed you the company for videography. She had this new great idea for like holistic well-being and spiritual guidance, right? What's it called?
So her app is called Wild Minds.
Wild Minds, that's right.
Same thing. It happened in the pandemic. You know, we both kind of found our passions at that point. You know, I just found my triathlons. She started a podcast as a way to deal with kind of her struggles in the pandemic. You know, it was just, she guided meditations, and it kind of grew, and then it turned into an app. You know, her followers wanted an app, and we thought, how do we do that? So again, we just dove in. You know, figured it out. We learned, and she just finished a new build here like a few months ago, and it's awesome. We integrated some AI stuff, and she was able to attend an app week in New York City. It was a conference. She was accepted one out of like 300 other. You know, only 300 people get accepted. She was accepted, and she actually got to host women's. She got to host a women's brunch, like a women in apps.
Wow.
You know, through it, and network and have that kind of community. So it was really cool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Did she build it from like it's a native app? Did she build it through like block form or like coding?
she doesn't code. She found freelancers. You know, so it was, the first build was very rough. It was an old language that, you know, we don't really use in the U.S. And there were some problems, some security issues that as the app grew, we realized we need to get ahead of this because it could be a liability. So we finally, after a few years of maintaining it, it's all bootstrapped by herself too. So, I mean, that's a challenge in itself. No investors, no debt. So, so we just decided to do the new build, and it's secure and it's great. So yeah.
I built an app for the nonprofit I was working for.
You did, yeah.
In block form, and that's why I asked.
Okay.
The company was Good Barber.
Okay.
This company called Good Barber, and it's like building. It's like Squarespace for apps.
Yeah.
Right. And I couldn't believe how easy it was.
Yeah.
And then like when it came down to publishing the app live, it was like they handled all the back end logistics with like Apple and the Google Play Store.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah.
And then it made it easy for maintenance to like go in and you know, add and remove and you know basically filter your content
and
make the updates as needed and communicate through the app. And so I was like, wow, this is, for years I was like, I don't know how to code. I've always had app ideas. But it's like that's not my forte. I don't have any background or education on it. So to be able to find something like that, I was like, wow, that's
really cool.
That's a good business idea.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people have app ideas.
Yeah, absolutely. That's same kind of thing on my end. I do a lot of that plug and play for like my website. I don't know how to build a website, but so that's really cool. There's something like that for apps. It'd be really beneficial for a lot of people. Yeah,
it's been pretty good.
Yeah.
So you had an interesting couple weeks.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. It's actually only been 1 week, and I find really crazy. But yeah. My it's actually made national news, and it was in like the New York Times and stuff. But my neighbor was on the most wanted list. Wanted
list. Who knows?
He's been here for 5 years, 4 or 5 years, and different name, different backstory, and had no idea. Just kind of living life under the radar up here.
Yeah. So. Faked his own death.
Yeah.
And create his own identity.
Yeah. Faked his death to kind of get away from prosecution in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And got a new identity, and he was going to SUNY Canton for engineering, and this is a shock to me. I walked by my house every day. No car, but there's obviously a very elaborate backstory.
Yeah.
And you feel bad. You want to help out your neighbor. I drove him to doctor's appointments, dentists, grocery stores, things like that. And you always just thought, he'd been through the ringer and he's trying to, start over. And it was crazy. Yeah.
Well, lo and behold,
he's kind of a monster.
Yeah. I guess you don't always know who your neighbors are.
Yeah.
Huh? I think I said that too.
Which is hard because, the North Country, you learn to kind of look out for people and
100%.
help people out. And it's kind of crazy to feel like you've been taken advantage of for a long time, and, let somebody into your into your family or around your family. And it's crazy.
So take me back to them. It was the morning, right? Like,
we were texting, right? Is that what you mean? We were texting to schedule this, and I'm always watching around my house. I'm also observant, and I saw a lot of kind of strange vehicles around, parked in weird places, parked in the like in between trees and things like that. And I'm thinking, what is going on?
Yeah.
And they'd periodically do a circle around the block and come right back to the same spot. So they're moving and doing this and that. And so I reached out to the local law enforcement. I said, there's something weird going on. And they said, we don't know what you're talking about, so we're going to check it out.
Yeah.
And come to find out, it was U.S. Marshals and the FBI. So, so they basically said you're safe, but, stay inside for the next few hours. And I thought, wow. And I just kept an eye on them because I'm just nosy.
Yeah.
And about 8 o'clock, I saw the flashlights go in the house, and I thought, oh, my God, it's that guy. Because I had no idea where they were going.
Right.
They were just kind of in the neighborhood. And, it was pretty crazy. So,
What a series of events.
Yeah.
And then I see the article. I'm like, oh, I know exactly what it was.
So I remember I thought, what an excuse. Hey, sorry I didn't message you back. I had FBI at my house. And you're like, wait, is this real?
Yeah, it's something that doesn't happen very often in the North Country.
Yeah, no, not at all. No.
I mean, shout out to those guys, the FBI and the Marshals, for really tracking this guy down after 13 years or something?
12 years, yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah, he's apparently very smart, and they'd gotten close to him before a couple of times, and he just evaded, kept getting new lives and changing his spots. So it's crazy.
Sounds like a Netflix documentary in the making.
Yeah, I had a 2-hour interview with the state police on Monday, so I was able to give them every single thing I know for the last 4 years. So, and it seemed like that might have been the most information they've gotten. It was pretty weird to be in that position. So,
yeah, definitely probably weird, but also at the same time, it's like, props to you for cooperating and helping these guys out.
I actually, like weird tangent. I used to be in law enforcement, so I like have all that in my brain to like remember dates and times and like what I saw and things like that. So crazy.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, that worked in your favor, I guess.
I guess so.
Yeah, that's great. Cool. So, thanks for joining me today.
Yeah, I mean,
amazing.
I hope it went okay. I hope I didn't babble on too much. I really appreciate you having me and, spreading that like awareness, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you could leave it like on one note, right? So if you kind of get an idea of what we're talking about, like what is kind of one piece of advice that you'd give anybody listening this that might be going through it right now, or, maybe just needs to.
Yeah. Just don't be afraid to like look within and try new things. It took me a really long time to understand, because I think, like you said, there is such a stigma or preconceived kind of thing about mental health with guys, and it took me a while to figure out that that was anxiety, that was OCD, and how to channel that and just try new things. Go fishing, slow down, kind of like we said. Be outside. If that doesn't work for you, do a puzzle or something. I don't know. You just find a place to put your energy. And don't be afraid, that it doesn't have to be like, oh, that's just life. Life doesn't have to be stressful. You can still do a 9 to 5 and find ways to kind of unplug. So, just don't be afraid to try stuff.
That's really good.
Yeah.
You said you have chickens?
I have chickens, yeah.
So I'll give you a quick story before we wrap this up. So, COVID, my wife and I like to try new things.
Yeah.
Right. And so some chickens in the neighborhood became available, coop and all, at no cost. So we said, all right, let's try raising chickens. Mm-hmm. And so we had chickens, and they were great. They were very fun. I'm surprised at like how social.
They're very social.
They're actually.
Yeah, they're basically a dog. Yeah.
And then we're like, this is gonna be great. We're gonna have fresh eggs. Like it's gonna be amazing. And we raised them for feels like forever.
Yeah.
And never got eggs.
No,
never got eggs. You want to know why?
Were they already too old?
No, because we got them as young.
You got
young
them
chickens.
Yeah.
Every single one was a rooster. Oh. Every single chicken was a rooster. So if the COVID luck hadn't got us, the chicken luck got us. So we had been raising just all roosters with this great anticipation of free range, fresh eggs that we don't have to go pay $8, for a dozen now for.
Did you have to get rid of them all? Get them then?
So we got rid of them.
Yeah,
we gave them away.
Yeah.
We had another neighbor that raises chickens, and it's like
How many did you have?
Oh God, I think we had like 12 or 14.
12 roosters.
Yeah, I think
all roosters.
12 roosters.
How does that happen?
Every single one. I have no idea. Just like the luck of the draw from the.
So same thing. We got chickens during COVID. Kind of thought this is gonna be great. We only got one rooster out of a bunch of 6. Mm-hmm. That was a treat because we live in the village. We're already kind of dabbling with. You can have chickens in the village, but I don't think roosters are probably appropriate for your neighbors. So we thought this is a big hen, and then one day he started crowing, and we thought, oh no. But 12 is insane.
12, yeah, and it was unfortunate. It's like kids fell in love with them, named them, and it's like, but I'm not keeping 12 roosters.
No. Yeah.
So they remind me of that every once in a while. But the next great thing comes along.
More.
So.
Get some more. Try it out.
Yeah.
It's more fun without 12 roosters. So.
Yep. Yeah. For sure. All right. Like I said, thanks for joining me.
Yeah.
This is another episode of Into the Fire podcast. And, if you're watching, took something away from this conversation today, please share it with a buddy.
Yeah.
And as I always say, call your friends. Check in on your buddies. It's men's
absolutely.
November. It's men's wellness month.
Yes.
So I want to get that message out as much as possible. And, just the simplest phone call can really help. And until that, if you've watched this, please like and subscribe. Follow on our social media @Forge and Freedom. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Awesome. Thanks a lot.